В танковому музеї.
Коротше, ось це, що побачите, гріль. Я от на неї робив ставку. Вона віддала, крім попіду, і там можна розжитися всім, чим треба. Але там тільки хот-доги, бургери, от чисто от американська закуска, а з напоїв тільки кола і кава. Потім я підійшов до парковщика, там кажу, типу, а що у вас тут ще по кафешках? Ну, оця відповідно, і оця, що
ось там. Хорош. Может, пойдем к барьеру встанем? Пошли к барьеру встанем. Пошли.
А, так де ми тут стали?
Тогда ладно. Отсюда лучше видно дальше.
Вот там можем.
Пошли.
Пошли вот туда.
Not too far away, there was a staging area before the D-Day landings. A number of American units passed through there, including the US Rangers at one point. They leave for D-Day from Weymouth and Portland Harbours. This particular part of the West Country, mainly American troops on the build-up to D-Day. And these vehicles have been staying locally overnight. They're here today. A little bit later on, they'll be parading around, so you can go and have a closer look at them. They'll be driving later today off our site and heading towards Dorchester, and they've got a road run, etc. So let's see some of these vehicles I can recognise, happy to talk about. They are going to park up. Once they've parked up, you'll be very welcome to go and have a look at them, but please can you just wait before we enter the other areas, such as the car park, such as our arena, because obviously there's vehicle movement going on. Now the first vehicle, called a White Scout car, put together by the Americans just before the Second World War. The M8 Greyhound following on behind it with a small turret on. A series of the WC series of vehicles. These were made in different configurations, 4x4s or 6x6s as well. Load carriers, command variants. You've got there one of the command vehicles as well coming along. This is all part of that massive industrial output that America turns on the tap. 1930s, very few vehicles in the US military, but they've been tested. They've been getting ready. Should a war come, the American war plan, let's throw money at the problem. They've done testing on different component parts. They've been looking at other countries. They look at Britain in the 1930s, use of the Austin 7 on some exercises. Let's have a small vehicle. They go to the Bantam Company in 1940. That leads to the development of the Jeep, a vehicle that's designed in many ways, they say, by the committee. Lots of Jeeps going around now. Over 600,000 Jeeps made by American companies in the Second World War. And of course,
Чувак, моторы едут вообще, товар.
America was the arsenal of democracy. America was not being bombed. It was well away in terms of any threat to its industry. Therefore, it could make these vehicles in quantity, which it certainly does. And these vehicles end up being not just used by American troops, but by British troops, by the Soviet Union, by so many countries, because they could quite simply make so many of them. And again, we're lucky enough, we've not only got American equipment, you can see there Harley Davidson, different types of vehicles as well. If you're building stuff for a military, and as we can see, these are being used today. They're being used as outriders to make sure that again marshalling, people know where they're going. When you're taking a convoy of vehicles around the place, you need people that can actually set the routes, route marking, route setting, of course, and communication, so it's message taking. That classic dispatch rider role as well, where we need so many different motorbikes and at different sizes and configurations. the British come up with. I think we've got one in today.
Їдуть штурмувати посадки.
Very lightweight, perfect for airborne troops. You don't want to be landing if you're going in a glider with something as heavy as a whole Davidson. So different vehicles, different specifications, different roles for the military to use.
Harley fucking Davidson.
Now, one of the other type of vehicles the Americans, of course, are very good at, in the Second World War, overall, they make about 2.5 million trucks. Just think about that. 2.5 million trucks, like coming on now, TNCs, Deuce and a Half, as they were called quite often. Different configurations. What we're looking at here is 6x6, so all of those 6 wheels are being powered. They are put out as load carriers with different specifications for the weights they can carry. GMC mainly used in the European theatre, Chevrolet, etc. Other companies make these, some go to the Soviet Union. This is how an army runs. We always like looking here at the Tank Museum, the fighting end with the heavy armour and the armoured cars. Those vehicles do nothing unless you've got vehicles like this to support them, whether that's with taking the ammunition forward, taking the fuel, and of course in the Second World War, until we captured key ports after D-Day. The Germans are not stupid, they deny us ports. So until we get to that point that we can use some of the ports, like Antwerp, vehicles like this are being ferried supplies right from the D-Day beaches, Normandy, all the way up through France, Belgium to Holland, right until September of 44. And it's not till about November that we open Antwerp and we can supply our frontline forces much easier. So these, part of the Red Bull Express, it was called, convoys of vehicles back and forwards all the time, and you need a lot of them. Unfortunately for the Western Allies, America could do that. I'm not sure what the configuration, but is it WC-51 ambulance variants for some of these? Of course, you also need specialised variants built on the whole on the same chassis, so spare parts are common. Anybody can get in these vehicles and quickly learn how to drive them. Now again, another one of those pointers, why the vehicles like that are in World War II, we're going to see cast hull. America could not make all of their Shermans the same because of different skill sets and the different capacities at the new factories. So what we've got here, that first M4A1 is a cast out hull version, hence the rounded shape of the actual bodywork there. This is for a later model turret, which carries a bigger gun than the early Shermans. First Sherman, 75mm dual purpose gun. This is a Sherman with a longer barrel 76mm gun. Only a millimetre difference in the size of the hole at the end there, but the truth of the matter there is that gun has much more velocity, much more weight behind the round that it's going to fire out the end of that barrel. Now the second Sherman in the lineup, that's that earlier gun, the 75mm gun. And it's also got a different engine in the back. That's a longer hull. If you look at it, slightly longer hull, and that's because it's got the right brake, not the razor engine, it's got the multi-back engine in the back. A series of engines bolted together to give it the power to drive along. The third Sherman, again, with that cast barrel, but with a longer barrel 76mm gun, and another variant based on the Sherman conception, self-propelled artillery. Put together to a bridge. We put the 17-pounder gun on. We call it the Phillies, the Americans call it the M10. Another lot of the 75mm gun Sherman. Listening to that, I think there's a diesel in the back of that one. High-speed tractor, using components from tanks, from the lighter M3 series tank. That's used for towing artillery. Then we've got this lovely carrier here with carrying a 6-pounder gun. I know about this bit. They only tested vehicles in the 30s with a view if war comes. And the American cavalry are absolutely adamant, right up till 1940, that still the horse is the best thing for cavalry forces to have. And so there is a reluctance to mechanise the army in certain areas. Louisiana manoeuvres of 1940 proves the point to the American army they're going to need many more motorised vehicles and armoured vehicles. And with this first vehicle here, basically they took the front half, the M2, as you can see it's driving around the scout car. If you look at the vehicle behind it, the front's exactly the same. That's because they take the front off and they glue it to a half track. And the idea being that you created a vehicle, they've already done tests with cross-linked progressive 1920s and 30s. They import the vehicles, half tracks, put the two together, and we come up with this series of American vehicles. The half tracks again have been in service for many years. Many armies used them well after World War II. So you can see the different variations there, made by different companies such as International Harvester. This version was used as a tank destroyer early in the war. The Americans had a theory: let's not let tanks knock out tanks. Let's create a force that's meant only for knocking out tanks there. So we put 75mm howitzers on. Different variants there. If you look closely, you'll see there's different sizes of tanks there. Again, using our collection of M16 like this one, Maxim mount on the back for anti-aircraft work. Some were used and ended up in ground combat roles because most of the Luftwaffe disappeared from the skies after the Normandy campaign. And again, you can see here, instead of desperately trying to remember which of the two different manufacturers. Basically, if the track shape to the back is one manufacturer, if there's an overhang at the back, it's a different manufacturer of the process. But underneath it, what they're trying to get is commonality of parts. Any soldier can jump in that vehicle and know how to drive it, and many of the parts, such as the track systems, the engines, the wheels, doesn't matter who's making that vehicle, you can use those parts and fit them, which again, if you're talking about the scale and the numbers we're looking at here, that's why you don't want parts that are unique or training unique to each vehicle that you're putting into service. You really want that commonality when you're talking about mass warfare, mass armies. Now, down the far end there, if you break down, as no doubt probably going to happen at some point during the road runs over the weekend, you're going to need vehicles like this. This is what the Americans would term a wrecker. War of France, different companies made them. But famously, first of all, you've got to recover the broken down vehicle. It's turned over or come off the road, hence the cranes and the winches. Then you need to be able to take that vehicle to where it can be repaired. So following on there, I think we're looking at, there's a version of the Diamond T tank transporter carrying a Rogers trailer behind it. So you can put the vehicle on there. And again, we're talking quantity. Every time we talk about these vehicles, over 500,000 Jeeps made in the Second World War, 2.5 million trucks of different sorts there. So with our Diamond T wrecker there, that's pulling on, taking a trailer behind it, nothing on that one, Further on, we've got
На кой ляд он эту красную тряпку туда прилепил?
a Rogers trailer with a Sherman tank on the back. If possible, you try and move your tanks by railway or by tank transporter, because that's easier and it also stops what's called track mileage on the tanks. Tanks will not go as far or as long as a wheeled vehicle will before breakdowns or wearing out. So that's why you often see them trying to shift vehicles on the back of a low loader or on a train, not driving on the tracks that they have to.
Что?
Now, a couple more different record types. What the Americans would do, they give a specification to the different companies manufacturing them. As long as it could perform what was wanted, as long as key components came from the right sources, in other words, we could still replace the tyres, you'll see subtle differences in the nature of whether it's closed cab, whether it's soft cab, like we've got here, Ward of France, other companies make different records. And we've got some of those, go and talk to their owners, they'll tell you what these subtle differences are. And there we've got one coming around as well that's towing a half track behind it. And of course, all these vehicles we're looking at today, these ones are privately owned. Many of them don't do the amount of mileage we're looking at they're doing today, hence the higher issue of breakdowns. And of course, again, we're looking at vehicles that are pretty much 80 years old, so keeping them running is no easy matter. So again, from the point of view of all the enthusiasts of the people who spent a lot of hours keeping these vehicles, getting the vehicles going to a moment they can drive this. This is their pride drive moment. So as we're waiting for somebody else.
Все, пошли пиво пить.
They've done again to be able to pull vehicles along at this sort of scale.
Хоп-хоп.
And down the other end there, another diamond T coming on. Ballast boxes on the back. You can see, as well as stowage areas for recovery equipment on a lot of these vehicles. Sometimes you'll see things on the vehicles, true for all of them. Things such as recovery or spades, various types of axes, etc. You'll see commonly put on vehicles. Some have specific bespoke bits of equipment that are put together for their particular role. So the Diamond T's got a winch, so it can winch vehicles onto a trailer or help recover them. And again, you'll see similar winches on a number of the vehicles here. And yes, again, I just keep coming back to this, it's not just one or two, you're looking here at vehicles of scale. Amazing projects here that you're seeing and amazing bits of kit to still be running. I don't even know the name of that last recovery vehicle coming around here. We've got some other bits and pieces. Look nice again, Max Mount on the back to the GMC on the last one there. But that idea of putting anti-aircraft defence, lots of worries earlier in the war, how to protect our armoured vehicles there and
Да, пошли. Бегу! Це корона. Что, мне дайте, мне дайте. Мне тоже.
Це ще документирує, блядь.
Да, вот оно.
Санька, ти мені там? Так. Так, а я теж брав.
І таке мені теж візьми.
Танковий музей.
Марк 4. Пантера. Да.
А ну на мене сфоткай. Сфоткаєш.
Все. О, какая правильная свастика-то на нем, а?
Ага, з німецьким хрестом, так?
Пошли еще тройку снимем. Тут тройка есть. И тигр. Вот эта тема Катеркраут.
Що, може йдемо, бо нікого наших немає.
Вы меня забыли.
Сумка в тебе?
Пидорская хуйня. Что? Там.
Де там?
Ну, на стуле. Ты что, там оставил?
Так ти її справ.
Блядь. Ладно, стой, пойду заберу. А ну на меня тоже так сними. Стой. Держи. А, так ты своих нашел, да?
Вставай, я на свістку.
На видео.
тебе на відео? А це ж став, що YouTube, на Ютубі, коротше, всі будуть знати.
Не коляй.
Не ну. Здоровіна.
Чого?
О. О, це тема. Давай.
Что, катим?
Girls danced, and the sisters fighted the blockade fought out to Britons.
О, як тигр. Такая. Чувак, вон товар вообще.
Ото вообще дивили, так?
М.
we shut off, and they're sort of on the road, I suppose, and that's it. It's probably about 7 miles, about 5 miles.
Певно здоровенько.
A lot of big, huge field, and there we had to wait about 2 days, just two of us in this field.
А ну, присядь с чуваком. Може. Може, ми чого тут не бачимо. Отаку п'ємо. А стой. О, пошли посмотрим. А, типа магазинчик на войны. Игорь Валерьевич.
Давай, иди сюда. Зеркало. Не, он зеркало.
What's that? It just shows the like horrific conditions of the war.
Чего? Марк 4? Да зачем он мне нужен? Можно фуражку стыбзить.
I suppose this feels. What is this? Get me away from it!
Стой, там что-то такое, блядь, здоровенное, блядь. Вот там. Стив. Бачу, яка. Туда, мол.
Це виход.
Доволен. Подожди, все, поснимай меня.
Давай знімемося. Нам же ти не